You know it.
You tell the story.
You tell the whole damn world.
This is Bear territory.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey. Let's go, Cal
Let's
Track
go.
and Field. Are you a Golden Bear fan who loves the University of California? Well, if you're like us and are unabashedly and unapologetically all about Cal, you found the right place. Welcome to Tell the Whole Damn World. We celebrate all things Cal and hope to make you feel more connected to this wonderful university that has given all of us so much. Thanks so much for joining us. It's Monday, June 9th, 2025. Football recruiting is going gangbusters, and it's another great day to be a Bear. I'm your host, Reza Serafinejad, and it's hard for me to believe it, but this is already episode 35. We've certainly been busy over these last 7 months. Before we get to our featured guests this week, I have a major announcement to make. My co-host and brother, Mohamad Anderson, the man who created Bear Territory, is officially running for mayor of Richmond. If you live in Richmond, please consider giving him your vote. I can tell you that the man is as passionate about the city of Richmond as he is about Cal, and you know that's really saying something. He deeply believes that giving back to your community is the rent we all pay to live on this earth. You can learn more about his vision for Richmond by going to his website at andersonforrichmond.com. That's Anderson, the number 4, Richmond.com. And I want to say that we know your time is valuable, and we appreciate all of you out there listening and watching. For those of you watching TV news and getting tired of all the bad news going on in the world, consider making a little time each week to instead watch us on YouTube. Unlike the news, we can promise we'll always do our best to put a smile on your face and help you come away feeling good about your connection to the greatest university on the planet. In today's episode, Ahmad and I are thrilled to sit down with two outstanding representatives of Cal's track and field program, Mohamad Saatara, the incredible coach of our world-class throws program, and senior distance runner Garrett MacQuiddy, who cemented his place as one of the best runners of all time in Cal history. If you're enjoying these podcasts, please tell all your Cal friends about us. Share tellthewholedamnworld.com on your social media. Speaking on behalf of all of us here, including Ahmad and Leslie, thank you so much for listening and watching. We appreciate you more than you know. And now on to our interview with Garrett MacQuiddy and Coach Saatara from Cal's sensational track and field program. Flashback to 1895. For those of you who listened to our recent Cal history episode about the Cal track and field team that year, you know that we got the name, the Golden Bears, thanks to the remarkable success that team had when we sent 11 athletes across country by train, and they beat the heck out of the East Coast powers of that era. It was the first time any school from the West traveled to compete against schools from the East. The Bay Area and most of the West Coast was riveted to get the news by telegram as Cal beat school after school in a 7-week trek that firmly established our identity as the first West Coast power when it came to intercollegiate athletics. These days, with so many different sports, track and field doesn't necessarily get nearly as much attention. It's low-key and under the radar for most fans. But if you've been paying attention to what the Cal track and field team has been doing, you understand that it deserves a spotlight as one of the best sports programs in the country. Well, today we are thrilled to do our part to help shine that light on two incredible representatives of the Cal track and field program. Mohamad Saatara, the coach of the Cal throws program, and senior distance runner Garrett MacQuiddy, who recently set 2 amazing school records. Coach Saatara has been at Cal for 12 seasons, and under his tutelage this season, 3 women hammer throwers have advanced to the NCAA Finals for the first time in school history. He coached reigning world champion Camryn Rogers to Olympic gold in the hammer throw. And as if all of that weren't impressive enough, he also coaches Mykolas Alekna, the world record holder in the discus. And in the long history of the Cal Track and Field program, nobody has run the 1,500 meters or the indoor mile faster than Garrett MacQuiddy. That's some special stuff. He set those records this season, and he will compete in the 1,500 meters at the NCAA Championships at Eugene, Oregon for the second time in his career later this week. Welcome to the show, guys. We appreciate you both making the time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having both of us.
Yeah, we're glad to have you.
Absolutely. Look, Garrett, I got to say, man, I'm a Bay Area guy, born in the great city of Richmond, pride and purpose up north. But I've been to Saratoga a time or two and had a wonderful time. And they brought us such joy by bringing you to Cal. Tell me a little bit why you came to Cal. What generated, what motivated you, and what is your inspiration? What can you tell people why Cal is a special place to you?
I think the best thing that I can think of that I think everybody would say as a member of the Cal student athlete population and as a student here is it's the best mix of academics and athletics you could possibly have to be #1 public university in the world and now a Power 4 school within the ACC and previously within the Pac-12. Like you grow up, you see all those athletes, you see them headed to meets and competitions in the airport, you see them on TV, and to be a part of that as a student athlete was the coolest thing to me. And so just to be able to mix that, to have it close enough to home and to grow up seeing all the athletes that I saw competing and to be one of those these days is really cool to me.
Facts, baby.
That's awesome. Well, hey, you recently broke a 10-year-old Cal record in the 1,500 meters with a time of 3 minutes, 38.5 seconds at the Brian Clay Invitational. And you also posted a time of 3 minutes, 57.65 seconds to set a new school record in the indoor mile at the Husky Classic earlier this year. Can you tell us about those meets, and can you express what it means to you to hold both of those records?
Absolutely. I'll start with the history of the Cal Track and Field program as a whole. To have Don Bowden, who was the first American to run a mile under 4, to have him in some of the record books, to have Thomas Joyce, who had the outdoor 1,500 record, to have everybody who's come before me in this program, and to have a time that's been faster than all of them, it really means a lot to me. I had my eye on the indoor mile record, first of all, for a long time. I was hoping to get it last year, ended up getting it this year. It wasn't the most put together race I've ever had. And I came out of that race. I wanted more, but to be able to have both of those records, especially the indoor mile, it really meant a lot to me because I'd seen that first. I wanted to make it under 4 in the indoor mile, and then to be able to take a shot at the record after that and have 2 years to be able to do that after making it under 4 the first time was really cool. And then an outdoor 15. I've run track since 4th grade, so we're at well over a decade now. And so I've always been within the 1,600 or the mile or the 1,500 now. So just to be able to keep dropping my time. And now to be able to say that no one in Cal history has done anything faster than I have in both of those events, either the indoor middle distance or the outdoor middle distance, is something that I'm really proud to say.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just incredible to me. I mean, you're talking about the long and storied history of the Cal Track and Field program. It's stretching so far back in one of the first sports at Cal. And it's just incredible to think that you've accomplished that. And then, hey, I mean, just anytime I try to go, and just jog around the track and I see how far a quarter mile is, it's like in 1 minute or less than 1 minute. Are you kidding me? I mean, you are flying. You must be blazing fast.
Look, it's tough enough to get up from the couch to the refrigerator for me. So you're killing the game, baby. So just
if it makes you feel any better, I have days like that as well, where it feels like a long ways, and then I get out, go for able to work for that and to go for that. It's getting to the fridge is tough sometimes, but it'll end up being a 10-mile run's easier than going to the fridge.
Well, baby, but the way you run and way you've been victorious, man, it's worth that walk because you eat it up. And we're so proud of you, baby.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Really cool. And just to have your name in the record books, I mean, that is pretty darn impressive, especially with Don Bowden. I mean, the first American to break the 4-minute mile back in 1957 when he was 20 years old at Cal. I mean, that's like history. That's for sure that you're a big part of. So congratulations. So well, what does your typical training week look like? And how do you prepare mentally and physically for major competitions?
Yeah, so a training week for me starts out, I usually think of it mentally as starting on Monday. Some people, they start it in their head on Sundays or on Saturday. But for me, Monday starts with a little 5-mile run in the morning, follow that up with some weights with our awesome strength coaches. Later in the afternoon on Monday, come back at it with another 40 minutes, so roughly 6 or 7 miles, and then some strides, some sprints, and then finish that with a cool down. So it'll be Monday with essentially a double in weights. Tuesday, we have one of our track sessions of the week. So that could be anything from 400 repeats, mile repeats, a longer like 4 or 5 mile tempo, kilometers, something like that. But that'll be warm up, the main session, finish it off with some faster stuff towards the end, and then a cool down, usually core and hurdles after that to get a little bit of recovery, a little bit more strength. Wednesdays, usually we'll have like a 50, 60, 70-minute spin bike in the morning, along with the medium long of the week in the afternoon. So that's anywhere from 11 up to 12 or 13 miles. Thursday, pretty similar to Monday, but just take out the strides in the afternoon. So 35 minutes in the morning along with weights, and then another roughly 10 miles in the afternoon. Friday, similar to Tuesday, another whatever Coach Lockhart writes for the workout that week, but that one's going to be in the afternoon instead. Saturday, just easy double day, 35 in the morning, 65 in the afternoon, and then long run on Sunday. That's anywhere from 13 up to, I think the longest I've had is about 19 miles.
Look,
that repeats for a couple weeks in a row.
Is there any Gatorade? Is there any got an energy bar? My goodness, man. That's crazy. That is
a lot of miles. But yeah, I think that the highest week I've had is 102 miles in a week. That's during last cross country season. And then this track season has been right around 90 miles a week, fairly consistently, up until championship season when I start to bring it down a little bit.
I tell you, I mean, that's crazy to me. I just think about all that you do just to get through the week. And, oh yeah, you're in school too. And
Absolutely.
So as a former student athlete, I got to ask you, I know what kicks in for me in this work world and in life. And there's a lot of it that I sit back and I say to myself, you know, you can do this. You did this. You did that. And it's relevant, right? I was younger and it was running, it was tackling and being part of a football team in those ways, lifting weights, the whole workout. Didn't do a lot of that, small guy. But that was the essence of it. Tell me how you're being a student athlete at the University of California, I don't need to say Berkeley, the University of California, translates into who you are, your personality, your behavior, and your philosophy on how you approach life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our coaches hold us to a very high standard of, we're here for athletics, but also a major part of this is academic. So they're going to want us to be passing all our classes and getting great grades in there at the same time, making it to all our classes. The university does a great job of giving us priority enrollment so that we have access to class enrollment so that we can balance our schedule across there. But yeah, to be able to balance all of that across traveling for competitions, all the hours that we put in a week for training, along with classes and studying, it really, like, to be able to put that on my resume and be applying for jobs saying that I did everything that every other student athlete did, along with essentially a full-time job on the side, not even on the side, at the same time, because we have to give equal priority, because that's why we got into this school. And that's a lot of what the coaches expect us to do. So to be able to put both of those together and to be able to say that I did all of that, I woke up at 6 a.m. when other students are just rolling out of bed at 9, going into their classes, like to be able to do more and to push my body as far as I can is really great.
One of the things some people know, and I'll share this with you, that while I was at Cal, I was actually a peer advisor. I not only had my 12 to 13 units in school, but I also sat in 2 additional classes. At the times, initially was quarters, and then it went to semesters. And I sat in classes that some of my other fellow student athletes were in, and met with the TAs, the professor, and got notes and information that could help them be successful, from either doing the midterms to writing papers. Crazy, a whole nother tell the world what that life was like. But I came back after I graduated in spring of '83. I came back in summer of '84, and I became the academic advisor of student athletes. I thought that was amazing. I thought I had a lot to give back. And back then, there was a little shine on it. in the NCAAs, but now they recognize the importance of what you do, how you do it, and especially being at somewhere at like the University of California at Berkeley. The fact that you earned conference all academic honors, tell me in terms of just what that's like, but how the support comes from your peers and also your coaches, but even the relationships you have with faculty and staff to be able to accomplish that.
Absolutely. First of all, as I said earlier, the athletic department does a great job of allowing us to take exams on the road or provide us study spaces or provide us academic advisors and tutors. Student athletes are able to become tutors as well. So we can give a back and forth there where the student athletes are receiving tutoring for free from the athletic department, from the hired tutors they have. And then also the student athletes are able to become the tutors and be able to help out their student athletes while receiving financial compensation at the same time. And so that's a great balance of allowing everybody to benefit from the setup. And yeah, the professors have been super supportive as far as like I let them know at the beginning of every semester when I'll be traveling and what meets I'll be at. And a lot of them, they support me and they make sure that I'll be able to get everything done on the road, but also they want to be up to date on how my competitions went. And some of my professors this year, like when I came back and a couple of other student athletes in my class congratulated me on the mile school record. And then the professors asked about it as well. So they're definitely interested in it and want you to do well because some of them are Cal alums and they grew up going to football games or to track meets or to like baseball games. And so they want to see that they're teaching me, but also like I have everything I do outside of sports. So they see me as more than just a student. And then the coaches see me as more than just an athlete.
Absolutely. No, that's impressive stuff.
Amazing.
So, you're a senior. You've spent 5 years here at Cal. It's all kind of coming to a close, or I guess academically it kind of already has, right? So, what do you have planned next after Cal?
Yeah, so next for me after NCAAs, potentially I'll race at the Portland Track Festival, and then I'll head up to a meet up in Canada, just outside of Ontario, or in London, in Ontario, just outside of Toronto. So I'll run a mile up there against a couple guys that have ran anywhere from 3:51 for a full mile up to 3:55. So I might be racing against people that are pretty fast and even faster than I am. But I want to put myself in that situation and potentially, I don't know if it would count, but maybe go for the outdoor mile record and take a shot at that. So that'll be towards the end of June. And then recently, right now, talking about balance, I started a job that I'm doing part-time up until after that Toronto race, and then it'll be hybrid full-time after that. So that's at Lucid Motors down in Newark. So started that earlier this week. So doing some talent acquisition, data analytics there. But yeah, so next will probably be more work, but also looking to see what's after competition-wise post-collegiately. Have had a couple people reach out to me, so I think I'm not allowed to talk about that too much with them up until once my NCAA career is over. But definitely looking forward to hitting a couple of years of post-collegiate competition. And with the success that Cal Athletics has had, definitely have some resources that I can reach out to with Camryn Rogers and Skylar Magula and everybody else that's gone on to compete post-collegiately. I want to reach out to them and see who they know as far as what resources would be great for me, because I want to make the most of the abilities that I have and all the time that I've put into sport. So definitely looking forward to having some post-collegiate races.
That's great. Be sure to tell Lucid we're looking for a sponsor. We could roll around with tell the whole damn world in bear territory right there. Just tell us what to do, but send the key. We're open. We will be the guinea bears, if you will. So it's all good.
But man, congratulations on all that.
Thank you.
Yeah, best of luck with the competition coming up, especially it's one that's right in front of us next week. That's a big one. So hats off to you.
Big dance, as they say.
Absolutely. And Coach Mo or Coach Saatara, we really appreciate you, Coach, hanging tight here while we just had a chance to talk to Garrett. But yeah, we want you to feel lonely, so we got a bunch of questions for you as well. And Ahmad, you want to kick that off?
I do. It's interesting. When I was a young kid, my parents named me Ahmad, and I went to school, and people were like, they called me everything but Ahmad. And I came home, I was pissed, like, why don't you call me Bob, Ricky, Mike? I sound like New Edition, Bob, Ricky, and Mike, and it never happened. So, see, and then life changed. and a bunch of Mo's and a bunch of Mohammeds all over the world now. But I am just so proud to have you here today, man. Tell me about your transition. You immigrated here at 11 years of age from Iran. You get here and you just found this place, your parents found this place called home. And how did you navigate the transition at 11? You weren't a baby, you're right preteen, and then you get involved in this world of athletics and track and throwing events. What made you choose those things?
Well, it's a pretty interesting story. So we moved out here in '83. My parents moved out. We had a couple of my uncles lived down in Azusa, California, which is kind of in the San Gabriel Valley East. And we moved out here with my uncles and kind of went around the country a little bit because I have a bunch of aunts and stuff living around the U.S. And we decided, Southern California is a lot of Iranians live there and stuff. But when we moved to Azusa, there wasn't that many Iranians in the and living in Azusa, which was okay, whatever, I think a big influence on me was my parents. They were like, hey, this is your opportunity. Take advantage of it. Don't worry about anything. Just do what you got to do. I mean, there was a lot of hard times. You got to learn English. You got to get, new culture, new everything. There was some bumps in the road, but one thing, my dad had to have a heart surgery. So he was with my uncle, and he lived here since the 70s. And he just told me and my brothers, like, hey, you're here. This is your country now. Learn to be American. Learn how things work here. Learn to work hard. That's how you make it. Work hard. Nobody cares about your excuses or whatever's going on, all that stuff. Do your job, do your best, and take advantage of whatever opportunity you get. So that's been sort of my motto in my mind my whole life. Just make it happen. However you got to do it. So that's how I went through all that. But yeah, there was a lot. There's a lot of ups and downs, like great times, and sometimes you were wondering like what's going on. This isn't good. But you learn and you adapt and you kind of move on and make the best of it. And then getting into track and field was kind of. We 7th grade, I remember we had this thing in PE. It was a run, jump, and throw. And you'd run and then you throw the shot and do a bunch of stuff like that. And I was actually good at running, like sprinting. And the coach said, "Well, I'm kind of a bigger kid, so it's like I would put the shot, And I didn't know what I mean. It's funny because when we first came to the U.S., it was 83, 84, so it was the Summer Olympic Games.
Oh yeah,
and. So we saw it on TV, like the Olympic Games in LA. It was a big deal. And just the one day we were watching, it just happened that they had the shot put on TV, and then they had the discus a couple days later or something like that. And I just saw these guys throwing. I was like, this is kind of a cool thing. So in my mind, I go to this class, and I'm like thinking, like I saw this on TV. I didn't know anything, but I was okay at it. So the coach, the PE teacher was also like the track coach. He's like, hey, you're pretty good. Try it. So I started doing track. I played football a little bit, but I didn't understand much about. I wish I knew more about football when I was in high school. Probably had a lot more fun with it. But I got good at throwing, and I ended up going to Citrus Community College out in Glendora, California, which is pretty much down the street, and was economically made sense for us. And interestingly, it'll come back around is a man by the name of John Frazier. He was a thrower at UCLA, and at that time in the '80s. UCLA had like the premier throws program in the NCAA. I mean, it was world renowned. They had world record holders and training there and all sorts of stuff. And anybody from UCLA would talk to you, it'd be like, oh my God, you made it. So he had just started his coaching career out at UC Irvine, but we couldn't afford to go to Irvine. So my parents said, go to junior college. And the coach at the junior college was a man named Lloyd Higgins. Who was he's like my very big mentor. Was like my father, and he was a really great coach. He taught me how to be a good grown up. That's a big thing. Be a grown up. Take responsibility, all those kind of things, and it was a big influence on me. And I got into I'm like, this is great. And then after junior college, I ended up going to Cal State Los Angeles, which is right kind of east of downtown LA. And the coach there was Don Babbitt. He's still coaching. He's University of Georgia. And actually, Coach Frazier was at a bunch of schools, but now he's the head coach at Texas State. He was a coach at UCLA too for a while, but he was so these guys were kind of my mentors. And I just kind of developed my idea about, I wanted to be in high performance. And got to talking to Coach, my Coach Babbitt. He was very involved with high performance athletes. He's had a lot of great, champions. He coached a couple of Olympic champions and, great shot putters and discus throwers and hammer throwers along the way, javelin guys and stuff like that. And he just said, hey, you want to get into coaching? So I started working. Coaching. I got my first coaching job was at Cal Poly Pomona, and then I went back to Cal State LA for a few years. I had a lot of great success there. I was very fortunate, had great athletes, and and then ended up at Northern Arizona University again, just developed program. And I ended up going to University of Michigan, and I was there for 3 years. And after that, the head coach retired. You know how the coaching business is. You kind of, and I was doing job interviews, and I got this kind of a random phone call from Tony Sandoval, who was the head coach here. He said, "Hey, I need a throws coach. Come on out." And I was just like, and I had just come home from a job interview at one of the SEC schools, and I was thinking, well, the funny thing is I had coached Cal alumni before I came and coached at Cal. Couple of guys. I mean, Nick Fad, now he's coaching at UNC, and then another guy named Martin Merich, who's actually NCAA champion here for the discus at Cal. They were in their professional time, and I had coached them and helped them I think I coached them for about 9-10 years, and we're real close friends and everything. And Martin now he's coaching at USC, and those guys says, hey, Cal has a big potential for throws. They've had great throwers in history. If you look at the history of Cal track and field, we've had some amazing people. Dave Maggard was a shot putter here, ended up becoming the coach and the AD and everything. And then you had Kusala, he was the NCAA champion, the discus. You had some Ramon Jimenez Ghana was I think 3 times second in the NCAA, behind the guy that had the NCAA record at the time. And so I knew it was a big history. And anyway, so Tony brought me on. We've got some guys going. We got the thing, everything going. And then, we brought Camryn in. And she became our first national champion in a long time on the women's side. And then last year we had Rowan Hamilton, who's also from Canada, and he came down for his final year. He was at a UBC. It was his last year of school, and he had 1 year left because of COVID. And he really wanted to. People didn't respect him because it was in an NAIA school. He was like, "Yeah, I want to go against these D1 guys and show them what's up." So he came up here and became a national champion in the hammer throw. So and then along the way, when Coach Sandoval retired, Coach Johnson came in, and she's been absolutely one of the best head coaches in track and field in any school, and she's been really great, super supportive. I don't know what else you can ask for a head coach. I mean, she's there with the kids, with the team members, everybody, the coaches. She's got your back. I mean, she was awesome. So she said, "Hey, let's go build something special," and here we are. And I think this year we've had. We have 5 women and 1 guy. The 3 hammer throwers. It's the first time, I believe, since 2012 that 3 women from the same team have made the NCAA championship. So last time was 2012 USC, and now we have 3 ladies in there. I think we have a good shot at doing some stuff. And we have a shot putter, Lucia Leko. She's a sophomore transfer from the University of Zagreb. She came in. We have Giovanna Meeks. She was at Vanderbilt University. We recruited out of high school, but Vanderbilt, she ended up there and then out. And she told me she wants to come here. She came here in mid-year, so we had a really short period of time working with her. But she's a super talented, great kid. She also made it in the hammer. And then we also have Kaisa Marie Limfors. She graduated from University of Florida State University, and she came in for the last 2 years here. So she's a senior. She made it in a discus. She's highly ranked. So, and then obviously we have Mykolas Alekna, world record holder. He's has medals from every major championship you can think of. European championship, he's won that. He's a world silver medal, world bronze medal. He's one of the greatest discus throwers ever. And actually, the crazy thing is, the last time a college thrower had a world record in a discus was, I think, 1940s. So the sport has evolved a lot. I mean, the performances have gone, it's crazy. And he broke the record of Jürgen Schult, who had the world, and everyone thought it was an unbreakable world. It was the oldest record in track and field. He broke it last year, and then he broke it again this year, and he broke it twice in the same meet. It was incredible talent. I think it's probably the greatest athletes in Cal history. So you have those guys going to NCAAs, and we're looking to put a big mark for ourselves out there. So it's been great.
Wow. First off, I'll wind you up and just let you go, man. This is fantastic stuff.
Right.
But I mean, here's the thing that just I think most impresses me. You even touched on, like when you were younger, UCLA was kind of like the gold standard maybe for the throws program and all of that. And Cal has had a pretty rich tradition and a pretty darn good history when it comes to the throws program. But you've been here now at Cal. You're wrapping up your 12th year here, and you have elevated it to just like unprecedented levels. I mean, it's got to be the premier place to come in the world now if you want to be a thrower. I mean, that just sounds like that's thanks to you. I mean, it's just really super impressive stuff. So I can't say enough great things about you. And so in all the time that you've been here for 12 years, what would you say makes Cal such a special place?
I mean, it's a challenging place. So if you want to come here and be successful, you have to fight. I really like that, because in the classroom or you competing in it's a very blue collar type of an environment. We don't have a lot of fancy stuff. You see other schools, they have like slides for the guys to go down and all sorts of crazy stuff. We don't have any of that. But it's
You
very
could look at Ahmad's shirt right there. Nothing easy.
nothing
There
easy,
it
you know.
is.
So it's kind of our the Army says it's like their motto. You know, it's like we want to we don't need a lot. We just do. You know, it's not what you have, it's what you do with what you have. I think that's
Yes,
my
sir.
kind of mindset is what you do, use what you have the best as you can and make results, because, you know, if you're gonna do something, make it count. That's my mindset. So that's what we do, you know, and you know, we've got a lot of great talent that's interested in coming to our program, and it's been great. You know, now we have our kind of like our post collegiate group with the Camryn. Anna Purchase was an All-American for us, Rowan Hamilton, and some of the other guys that have kind of come by. And we get periodically people, you know, elite athletes come in and have training camps and things like that. So it's been really, really great just to see it develop over time. You know, and we have kids from everywhere. We have kids from all over the world. We have kids from California, you know, and it's a great mix. You know, they work together. And I always look for the kids that have the mindset that they want to be special. You know, you got to have the right chemistry for that, and to have that. So we look for that and really emphasize the kind of a team environment. You know, everyone's working together. Throwing's really individual. It's pretty harsh. It's a pretty harsh sport because it's just you know, in a circle or runway and a measuring tape. So that doesn't lie. So you gotta be on top of your game and show. You know, when you get an opportunity, you gotta stand up and deliver. So that's sort of where our mindset is at all times, and trying to make our program something that people can look at. And I just remember seeing what these great programs have done before, and it's like saying, like, you know what, we can do that here too. So that's kind of my mindset, is that, you know, to set that standard up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, in this world of NIL, one of the things that when I talk to the football coaches, and I've been on with the Grid Club, and they're asking the coach about, you know, this player, that player, this, that, you know, and it doesn't make a difference what sport we've interviewed or the staff we've interviewed. And I said, you know, the money is the money. But one thing, as I've shared with student athletes who I've had the opportunity to speak to as they visited us on their visits, was that, yeah, the money's the money, but our brand is everything. And when you earn your degree, and we take great pride in working with you if you're hungry enough to appreciate what it means to have a college degree from the University of California at Berkeley, that will supersede life after the lights go out and the crowds have left the stadium. And so share with me, and you both sort of highlighted, and either one you can talk about this, but share with me, if you will, how you communicate that when athletes come to visit, from a student athlete perspective and a coach's perspective, when everybody's talking about show me the money. How do you communicate that? Garrett, you could go first.
Yeah, with that aspect of things, like especially with NIL, like we don't really end up with many massive deals where it's like signing bonuses or something like that, but just to have all the other aspects that maybe another school could have with a flashy weight room or like slides coming down and stuff like that. Yeah, it almost ends up helping us like attract the right people, because we're not really looking for the people that want the flash. We're looking for people who want to work hard, want to get results, because at the end of the day, like, cool, you can send a photo of you going down on a slide and put that on Instagram, but can you run 3 3/4 laps around a track really fast? Can you actually do what you came to the school to do? So to be able to get those athletes that want to work hard, it doesn't matter whether our weight room has like logoed like weights and stuff like that, but like it doesn't matter what access you have. A 45-pound dumbbell is still going to be a 45-pound dumbbell. Like it doesn't matter what's going on with it. Like some of our stuff is fancy, some of it's fancier than other schools, but to have all the schools with the big budgets, okay, we're going to put our money into this and make it look all fancy. Okay, show up on the day when it matters.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, usually what I tell the kid, you know, if I'm recruiting somebody, I'll tell them, like, look, if you want to be a successful athlete, you could go to our program. You know, you might have to be a little bit, you know, Spartan in what you're doing, but at the end of the day, if you're interested in winning a championship and post collegiately you want to go on and be a professional athlete, you want to do something like that, there aren't too many people in the world that can teach you to do that. This is one of the few places in the world that you can actually come here, develop yourself to a point where after school's done and everything, you can go on and do some of that great stuff. And I think that's kind of our selling point, and is that you'll learn the skills you need, and you'll learn how to operate in a successful way for your future. And you might get something up front somewhere, who knows? But if you're not getting the right coaching, you're not getting the right development, you're not getting the right training and that kind of stuff, I don't know how many dollars that's worth if you miss that. You know what I mean? Because you're putting your career. When I bring an athlete, I say your career is in my hands. I got to make sure I guide you to the right place so you can be successful. And I think that's how we approach it. It is difficult because some of these schools have a lot of firepower and all that stuff, and they do attract some of the better kids sometimes here and there. But the kids that are interested in, like, hey, I want to end up being an Olympian, or I want to end up being a world champion or something, or NCAA champion, whatever it is. You want to go somewhere where you're going to get developed to be able to do that. And that's what we emphasize more than anything else. That, I'm not interested in, what kind of shoes you're wearing or whatever. That doesn't matter. You go to the Olympic Games, there's guys that come in, and I've been to training camps around the world, some of the Olympic champions, world champions, and you go there and you're like, oh my God, this looks like it's crazy. These guys are where they're training at. There's thing be like Rocky or something. The guys in the big lab training or whatever. It's not like that at all. Some of these guys are training, but they're out there trying to get the medals and win and be successful. And I think that's what really pushes that. Hey, you come over here, you're going to get a chance to do some amazing things that you can't put a dollar value on. And then the education obviously speaks for itself. Those are the things that we look at. It's like we're interested in what you can accomplish there, and all the other bells and whistles and all that. Because at some point, you do good enough, you get good enough where you're a great champion and stuff. All that stuff comes to you. You don't want to go chasing after it.
Yeah.
You
reap what you
gotta
sow.
do.
You reap what you sow.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it sounds to me like from every article at least that I've read about you, Coach, it sounds like you're pretty darn strategic in terms of how you coach up each athlete. And you have this degree in biology and exercise physiology. And can you talk a little bit about how you develop the principles that define your coaching philosophy, and how do you connect with your elite throwers?
Well, what I do with coaching is I'm always doing research. I'm really fortunate. I've contact with a lot of great coaches around the world, so I'm always talking to somebody. Checking notes, trading notes, and how do you do this? How do you do that kind of stuff, just to be up to date on what's going on. The academic background really helps me in terms of like being objective. So a lot of coaches will get into this thing where it's like, well, I did this before, it's going to work. You gotta be objective. You'll sit back and look and say, okay, what's actually working and what's not working. So that helps a lot with that. Just being able to organize a systematic approach to everything. That's a big deal. You have a system. You come into a system, things are organized. You understand what's going on, different parts of the training and how it affects you and that type of stuff. The physiology of it, the teaching, the pedagogy, those kind of things. Keep track of all that, keep it organized. That helps a lot with that. And just having a very critical view of everything. Then what I like to hear what doesn't work, not what works. From the athletes, I'm always saying, don't tell me what's good. Tell me what you're going to be better. And what I do is I talk to my athletes a lot. I gotta get their personalities. Some people are really aggressive. They need that aggression and that kind of mindset. Some other kids are more laid back. You just gotta meet them where they are, because it's about their performance and how they interact. I mean, I've had guys that would screaming their heads off and ripping their shirt and all sorts of crazy stuff. And I've had guys that you look at them and you're like, is this guy competing? What's going on? Taking a nap, and everything in between. And you just kind of figure out that athlete's personality and how they operate, and you operate with that. And it's a give and take, as a two-way street sort of. That's why I look at it. It's like we're working together as a team, and I have a big team mindset. A really good way of saying is that there's a video of Bo Schembechler, football coach at Michigan, and he talks about the team. And that if you watch that, you kind of understand what I think. So it's about working together and kind of understanding how everyone takes and what they can and do. And my main idea is always, whatever you're good at, we're going to make you better at that. A lot of times coaches, what they'll do is they're like, well, you're not good at this one particular thing or something like that, whatever it is, technique or strength or whatever. And they'll spend so much time working on the weaknesses, they forget about the strengths. So the weaknesses get better, but the strengths, aren't getting much better, so you're not really being a better player or a better thrower. For in our case, you're not being a better thrower. Whatever you're good at, be really good at that, because you don't need to be good at everything. Even if you like the great champions, they're good at a couple of things, and they're really, really good at it. They're the best at it in the world. So that's how I look at it: is find what you're good at, develop it, and kind of arrange the training in the way that those kids want to develop, how they develop, and we just keep track of everything and all the data. I do data analysis. I do lots of data analysis of training and the results. We look at everything and see where things are going, and then adjust accordingly, and then go from there. And I'm really, really straightforward. If you're doing a great job, I'll say great job. If you're doing bad, I'll say, hey, listen, we're working, get it together, something like that. So
keep it real to keep it right, coach. Keep it real.
That's the respect. I think athletes.
That's it.
They respect it. You got to be straightforward, because they'll know if you're kind of giving them some, not true stuff. They'll know, but you got to be straightforward. Like, hey, this was good, this was bad, and you just be straight, and they'll know what's going on.
Like my coach used to say, don't piss in my face and tell me it's raining. So
exactly, there you go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, you've coached athletes like Camryn Rogers and Mykolas Alekna to Olympic success. What does it take to guide athletes at that level? And can you tell us a little bit about your experience as a coach in the Olympic Games at Paris last year?
Oh yeah. Well, coaching athletes like that, they're very intuitive, so you have to listen to them more. I've noticed I've been really fortunate to have some great athletes, and they're very intuitive in terms of like what they need. They might not be able to verbalize it or know why, but it's like, I feel like I need to do this. I don't know what it is I got to do, but there's something you kind of help them kind of define that in their minds in terms of what they want and how they want, and you put it into the program. One of the things is with the athletes like that, they're very, very coachable. You tell them something, they'll do it. And the coordination, the tactile abilities, and those kind of things are amazing. Some of the stuff that they'll do, you're just like, wow, it's mind blowing. The talent level is so high, and they have a really good intuitive understanding of like, hey, this is how this works. This is how training works. This is how the throw works. How to compete. Most of the great athletes they love competition. They need it. It's like you see these guys in the X Games, and they're doing all these flips and things, and they need that adrenaline, and you just kind of manage that and kind of guide it in the right direction and get them going and be supportive mainly. But the Olympic Games in Paris was a very interesting Olympics. It was really fun, obviously, but the organization was some parts of it were really strict, and some parts of it were sort of like, what's going on here? They're just kind of out there, but it was a lot of fun. The competitions were really exciting. The Olympic Games, and the hospitality was really amazing. Just to be able to see all the athletes from all over the world, colleagues, people that you've talked to over the phone or on Instagram or something, and you actually see them in person, and you're like, oh, okay, hey, I know you know. I've been talking to some German coaches. I've never met them, and I just got dinner together. It was just so cool to see that. So that stuff's great, but the competition part was really, really amazing. And Mykolas came in a little bit later over with Camryn. We had a training camp up in Sweden, then we went down to France, and our trainer Liz Mannering went with us. She's been working with Camryn for years, and she took a real cool picture. Nina Boldarczyk, who's the world record holder and defending Olympic champion in the 3 Olympic champion gold medals, and she was walking out of the circle, and Camryn was walking into the circle, and she did this really cool picture, and I was like, whoa, changing up the guard, so that was kind of cool. And so it was great. I mean, there was a lot. It's challenging. I won't say it was easy at all. Nothing's easy. People are fighting tooth and nail for every centimeter, every inch. They're fighting tooth and nail. So, but just to see that on an international scale and seeing all the TV and all the hoopla and everything else, it was really cool to get that energy. And it's like going to a rock concert and just getting that face feeling. So it was really fun. So it was great to be out there, and Coach Johnson came out, supported the guys, and it was really cool. And, all the competitions were just hard fought every round. There was a lot of tactics and strategy and stuff and that kind of stuff. So it was really cool.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I know we are coming up. We've got about 8 minutes left here, Ahmad. I think we could, because one of the questions I have for you, Coach, is reflecting on your most memorable moments and everything, but that kind of feeds into the Bear territory question.
Sure.
So I think we can kind of combine them into one. What do you think about that, Ahmad?
I think in general that question covers Bear territory, and that question covers both.
Yep, and we definitely want to hear from you on this one too, Garrett, on your Bear territory moment. So we'll we'll
I've
get
been, I've been
that, and
really
then
fortunate. Yeah, I've been really fortunate. We've had a lot of those moments. I think historic moments, competitions. But for me, there was one competition that really stands out in my mind to this day, and it was just like sort of like you could see like the bear wave coming in, and 2017 Pac-12s up in Eugene, and it was before they changed the stadium too. So it was a men's shot, and we had 3 shot putters in the final. We had Malik McMorris, who's a football player, and
Oh yeah,
he's a
yeah.
great guy. McKay Johnson was, I think, he's either a freshman. Yeah, it's freshman year. And we had this kid named Peter Simon, who's from Hungary, and they made the final. And there was a kid from USC. What's his name? Ponzio, Nick Ponzio. And he was a favorite, and then Pac-12s and the track and field news. I put this thing out about the conferences and they have the
Yep.
kind of form charts and whatnot. And Ponzio was supposed to win, and Peter had one year was the third, next year was second, and this was junior year. It was so we had this. There was this great. It was a great thing because the UCLA had 2 guys in the final. USC had a guy, and then one of the UCLA guys got injured. He left. And there's a picture of the other UCLA guy sitting on a bench. Peter's standing next to him, looking at him. McKay sitting next to him, looking at him. And then Malik's taking a knee, looking at him. And I was just like, I told the team, I'm like, look, the Bears are surrounding the Bruins right there. And then Peter ended up having this. They had this. It was a fist fight basically in the shot because Ponzi would throw like a couple of inches further. Pete would hit it, and then I think in round 5 or 6, I think around 5. Pete hit a huge PR, 64 feet and change, and won ended up winning the Pac-12, and that was this great thing because the last time Cal shot putter had won the Pac-12, well, it was Pac-10, I guess Pac-8 back then, and it was 1981. It was Dave Porat. It was the outdoor record.
Yeah.
It was the last time
Big
that he had anybody Cal athlete that won the shot, and we won the shot, and then from there it just kind of the train got rolling, and that to me that's like the classic Bear Territory moment because we got 3 guys in the final. They all scored. It was great to have that, and just to be able to see those guys come in and really, put their mark on the conference and do that stuff was great. And all those guys ended up being all Pac-12. I mean, Malik did it in the discus and shot, and then Pete won again, and then McKay ended up being a record, a 3-4 time All-American. The other kids came in and they just kind of started this whole wave going. So to me, that's my Bear Territory moment, I guess you could say, because you get fired up for that. That's awesome.
That's a classic.
Yeah, I
Garrett,
got a lot of those for you guys. Yeah,
just like we asked Coach, it comes at any time. It's either before you come to Cal in preparation. It may hit you as a wave, as Coach says, in the moment, and it may happen to you later on in life. But what now can you think of? And we know there's a lot because we are the University of California at Berkeley. Your Bear Territory moment.
Absolutely. So my Bear Territory moment would be my sophomore year at the big meet against Stanford. Had some big names in the 1500 field over there with Charles Hicks, Cole Sprout, Thomas Boyden, all out of Stanford across on the other side of the bay. But to go in there and we knew it was going to be a heads up match and see how that 1500 was going to go. The announcers were talking it up on Flow Track and on the live stream and being like, okay, Stanford's going to be looking at MacQuiddy, trying to see like what AC's got up his sleeve and try and stop me from getting as many points as I can. So 5 points for first, 3 points for second, 1 point for third, and to take a shot there. And it was a fun race, and came out of that meet with sweeping on the men's side and the women's side. I stole one of the brooms from the Stanford long jump and triple jump pits, passed that over to Coach Johnson, our director of track and field. I still have that broom. It's sitting in my backyard right now. But stole that and passed that over to Coach Johnson. I said, Coach, we swept him. And then had a little post meet meeting right before we head off on a victory lap, and we do a break with Go Bears on me, Go Bears on 3, Go Bears, and so that's the whole team, that's the whole crowd, everybody that stayed there. All the Stanford team and Stanford fans had left because we won on both sides. So Coach, we all start clapping. It builds up. Coach Johnson points at somebody. I stand up. Everybody else is taking a knee. There's a photo of just me standing, screaming my lungs off. Everybody else is screaming. And then from there, head into a victory lap. We bring all the Cal flags that we had brought. The broom that I had stole, I was just sweeping it along the track, cleaning their track up from all the dirt they put on when they're training. But yeah, so there's a couple tell the whole damn world this is Bear Territory cheers around the whole track as we do victory
Yes,
lap. And towards the end of the victory lap, we get towards the steeple jump pit, which is full of water. We all start chanting people's name. Everybody's jumping in the steeple pit. I think Camryn might have jumped in. And just everybody there, you just cannonball into their steeple pit. And I heard afterwards that the Stanford coach wasn't very happy about that and felt a little disrespected, but that makes me pretty happy. So that's my Bear Territory moment when we turn the place across the bay into Bear Territory.
Look, Garrett, I'm gonna call you Mac Daddy from now on because you handled your business, baby. That's what that
Absolutely.
is. You all have clearly defined what Bear Territory is, not only for yourself, for all of us out there in the Bear Territory land. And when you shine, we shine, and that's Fiat Lux, and we appreciate you.
Absolutely. I mean, boy, I got to say, we are just so thankful to both of you. It has been such a pleasure. You guys are awesome. And I can't say enough because my face is just beaming, and think of what both of you in your own ways under the Cal Track and Field program have done to put your stamp on this program and to elevate it to heights that are just unprecedented. So really, really appreciate you. Good luck, Garrett, next week for sure. And good luck to you too, Coach, or all of your throwers who are moving on to the NCAA championships as well. So,
Thank you.
yeah, and thank you again, and just best of luck, and we'll end it the way we always end it and say, go Bears!
Go Bears!
Go
Go Bears.
Thank you,
Go
gentlemen.
Bears. Thank you both.
What a fantastic Bear Territory moment. We wish Garrett the best of luck this week up in Eugene. He's been tracking his total miles run since he was a kid, and apparently he's just about to run farther than the circumference of the earth. And how about Coach Saatara? We are so incredibly lucky to have the best coach in the world when it comes to our throws program. If you want to compete for Olympic gold and world records, there's no better place to go than Cal. As you've heard me say before, this podcast is entirely a labor of love and a reflection of how much we love our university. Please help tell the whole damn world about us by sharing us with all your Cal friends. Simply share tellthewholedamnworld.com on the social media platform of your choice. You can also follow us on X, better known as Twitter, at Win4Cal. That's Win, the number 4, Cal. Be sure to catch our next Cal History episode with Leslie Mitchell when it drops this Friday. Thank you so much for tuning in. We sincerely appreciate all of you out there listening and watching. See you Friday. This podcast is about celebrating all things Cal and the prominent people who are passionate about the University of California. Do you feel Cal is the center of the universe? Do you bleed blue and gold? We want you to tell the whole damn world about it. Go Bears!